The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so honored to have back on the show Miss Country Soul, Grammy Award winner, Opry member. She's won so many awards that I would have to take up the whole show just listing them. The one and only Jeannie Seely.
Thank you so much, Eric. That's pretty funny.
Well, it's just the truth. I mean, it's like every time something pops up, it's like, oh, look, Jeannie's gotten another award.
Yeah.
And then now they've started naming awards after you. And also, Dr. Jeannie Seely?
Uh-huh.
Honorary doctorate, not a bad deal.
I should have brought my prescription pad and written you a little prescription.
You need like the whole little setup, right?
Oh, yeah, we got that.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring this up too, to where you've got new music out, and I know it's doing incredible. And listening to it on your Spotify channel last night, and going to your YouTube channel also, Suffertime.
Yes. I love this song all the way back to when Dottie and Bill West wrote it in 1966, and she recorded it. And I loved this song then. And recently, I was looking for a country song that I could pull down to country blues.
Right.
Because that's my favorite.
That's your wheelhouse.
And I was actually looking for a song I wrote that Dottie recorded, and I found it in her Suffertime album, and I'm like, oh no, I like that song better than mine. So I started doing it on the Opry stage just to get the audience reaction and feel they love it. So I'm like, let's go record it.
It's such an incredible song. I've got to bring this up too, Jeannie, to where you involved Steve Wariner as your producer, which is kind of ironic to me because, as you and I know, Steve got his start with Dottie West.
Absolutely.
And so then he was so honored to work with you on this. And then you had Julian as your engineer, and then an all-star band, Charlie McCoy and everybody else, the harmonica. The song sounds so fresh and new, and I can see why it's really taken off. And there's also a 40-minute documentary and a music video for it.
I have never had a video to go with a single record in my career. It's not crazy. But so this was a first for me. Yeah, and then the 40-minute documentary, we had so many great things to work with that Ron Harmon said it would be a shame not to do this. So he went ahead and put that together. And it gets to visit with all the musicians, some of them like Charlie, who remembered so many sessions there. And then some of the younger ones who just dreamed about recording at RCA Studio B, and now they've had the opportunity.
So much history there, and a part of the Country Music Hall of Fame. And once again, you know, so many Country Music Hall of Fame members, you know, play the Opry and everything. And so I'm sure that, you know, in the near future, you're going to be in the hall also, since, you know.
Be great. Well, I am so very proud that CMA gave me the Joe Talbot Award.
I was going to bring that up.
Because Joe stood for, Don Slitz told me he always liked to sit beside him in the CMA meetings, and he said Joe would always say, whatever you want to do is fine, but keep traditional country music in it.
Right.
So that's really what I focus on anymore, especially at the Opry. Like I tell the Opry audience, you know, for those who still want to hear that, we need to represent it.
Definitely.
And also some of the younger people, they won't know if they like traditional country or not if they don't hear it. So
well, I think you do such a great job, Jeannie, keeping that history alive. Meaning, you became an Opry member in 1969.
67.
67. I was because it was funny because I was going through all your catalog last night, and so I mean 67.
Yeah.
You know, because and I know that before that you got your award before it was even the ACMs. It was the Country Western Association.
The VIP.
You got the Vocalist of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year award. And that's kind of spurred you to move from California to Nashville, right?
Well, I always wanted to be in Nashville, but it was a dream. I didn't know that I could do it. So I left Pennsylvania because of the bad weather. Went to sunny California. But once I got there and started realizing there might be a possibility for a career, then I wanted to be in Nashville because I grew up listening to the Grand Ole Opry. It's where my heart is, always has been. And I treasure every time I walk in the back door. I know how fortunate I am.
Well, and over 5,500 appearances on the Grand Ole Opry.
5,374, I think, was the last count.
So you're saying in the next month you're going to exceed it then? I mean,
yeah,
it's like
there's not enough, Eric.
but also, and I got to brag on you because you won't, Jeannie. You have had the most appearances of any Opry member on that stage, and when I go to the Grand Ole Opry, it seems odd when you're not there.
Ah, thank you for that.
Because you do such a great job, and also you have such an incredible ear, for other artists, and you've helped so many artists over the years come on the show, just like people helped you when you first came on, wearing mini skirts and all. That that being
Ernest Tubb reached out that helping hand to me, and I've never forgotten it. And it's wonderful to be friends now with his grandson Dale Tubb. But yeah, I remember seeing Carly Pearce and Dolly Wood, and she's one of the new artists who, she of course has this sound of today, as she should, but her roots go deep into Kentucky and country music. And also, speaking of Kentucky, I have to brag too, I'm into producing now. How crazy is that?
In between everything else you do.
Well, and this is such a delight. These young kids from up in Kentucky, brothers Cutter and Cash Singleton, and we renamed the group the Kentucky Grass.
And they sound great.
Oh,
you played some of the
awesome.
music for me before we came in studio. And you suggested a song to them that I never would have thought would work for bluegrass, and it did. Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, and they sound incredible on it.
They are so good. We're going back in the studio again, and it has been a great thing for me to take such young people. When we went in the studio last summer, they were 13 and 16. Wow. And they're so professional. Like I said, when I introduced them on the Opry, I realized real quick, these aren't kids pretending to be professionals.
Right.
These are young professionals who just need a door open. When I took them on the Opry as my guest, they got 2 standing ovations.
Wow.
So I'm just proud. You never know where life or a career is going to take you. And to know that at this point in my life and career, I have a new single record and I'm producing a teenage bluegrass group. Life gets more interesting by the day.
And I've got to say also, Jeannie, in your spare time, you're also doing your Sundays with Seely, on Sirius XM. Thanks to your buddy Willie Nelson.
Yes.
But also it has to be acknowledged with your songwriting. You've had so many, huge artists record your songs, such as Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and Rhonda Vincent, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And besides your own hits, Jeannie.
I think we counted, there's 11 members of the Country Music Hall of Fame who have recorded my songs.
Wow.
Now.
So how much fun do you have with your radio show? Because I love hearing you on your radio show.
I have a wonderful time, and Bev Moser, of course, is my assistant on the show, and we just have fun. We record it there in my office, in my cottage. I just live, work, and play in that cottage on the river. And by the way, let me thank all of our Facebook followers that join us every morning for coffee on the Cumberland. That was just a gift I had no idea that people would enjoy. So
it's so much fun because I follow you on social media, and once again, you and I were talking before we came in studio. You and your husband Gene are just such a part of the Nashville fabric, and every time we bump into each other, whether it's at a charity event or a grand opening for something, you're always the same people. You know what I mean? And that, I think that says a lot, for you being, the level of country music legend you are, to still be that humble. And once again, American Classic, your last album that came out did so well. I know there's rumors that you're working on some more singles, maybe another album.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always building towards something, but actually I kind of do it as I write something or find something I want to record. Rhonda Vincent, of course, I love my Opry sister, Rhonda.
Right.
That was one of the greatest exciting nights when I got to invite her to become the newest member. You know, that picture of her when she said, "Are you serious?" It's so funny. But we spend as much time together as we can. And I jokingly said, I love bluegrass, but can you imagine that's the high lonesome sound? And it's like, this is the low lonesome sound of bluegrass. So Rhonda said, let's do it. You know, you got the songs, I got the musicians. So Rhonda and the Rage are going to help me do a bluegrass EP.
I think that's incredible. And I also, I've got a copy of your book. I know that that's also going to be coming out on audio, and you're working on 2 children's books, and thankfully, working on your memoir now also.
Yes, we're trying to tell this story.
Well, Ken Burns did a pretty good job.
Was he not wonderful? And you know what? First of all, when I heard that Ken Burns was going to do a documentary on country music, I thought, this is the most elevated country music can get.
Yeah.
Because Ken Burns doesn't waste time on things that don't matter.
So powerful.
Oh my goodness, they did such a
I've watched it
great
multiple
job.
times, and
Yes.
once again with your part in that, and I think giving country music the due that it deserves. But you've been a part of that. You're a part of the fabric.
Yeah.
On the Opry and everything you do, and with the radio show, with the books, with the new song out, it's like you stay current and fresh all the time, and helping out younger artists.
Well, that is our future, and of course somebody said to me, you have so many young friends, and I'm like, hey, if I didn't have young friends, the only other one I'd have is Bill Anderson.
But I mean, once again, Connie Smith, has
Yes.
recorded your songs.
Oh yeah.
And you and Connie are dear friends.
Oh, I love her so dearly, and we were joking, we don't always get scheduled on the Opry on the same night anymore, so it's always fun when we do.
Well, I think you're going to have to get out and tour a little bit. Maybe you could even go out with Rhonda Vincent and her band a little bit.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do that recently, and Ron Johnson said, I know you and Rhonda like to hang together. You want to do this show up in Crossville? And I said, no, that's too far away.
Too far from the cottage.
I said, let's put the kids on there. So Cutter and Cash and the Kentucky Grass opened for Rhonda, and they've got some other things coming up. She has been so helpful in that too, to guide these kids, because sometimes Cutter will ask me questions about, the festivals and all, and I'm like, ask Rhonda that one, because we'll just stick to the music.
The last time I was downtown recently too, I couldn't help but notice your star down there.
Yes. Did you do a happy dance?
I should have done the happy dance, but it's like going, because I'm walking along and I'm like going, well, there's Jeannie Seely's star.
I was so thrilled over that. I am just thrilled over everything that has happened, and like you mentioned, the awards, and just to know that your peers and people have this esteem, that's what it means, because they mean so much to me, and to know they kind of feel that way about me is so special.
Well, and also that you're still continue to be a creative force of nature, all these years with everything you've done, and really, broken ground, at the Opry and in country music and everything you've done and the duets you've done in the past. But I want to make sure for our viewers, for everything you've got going on with the books, with the new single out, website-wise, social media-wise, to keep up with everything, and the radio show and the books, where do viewers need to go, Jeannie?
JeannieSeely.com.
And they can also get some great bandanas, too.
Oh, yeah, we got bandanas talking
Hats.
about everything. I also want to real quick thank the Source Foundation. Source, a lot of people are not familiar. That is the organization that honors the business women behind the scenes who do so much. And I am being honored this year with the Lifetime Achievement Award. They don't give that every year, and I will only be the 4th one to get it. And to see my name, the first one was Joe Walker Metter, and it carries her name now. And then Frances Preston and Brenda Lee. And
Oh, my goodness.
To see my name beside them is just awesome. I used to love to watch Frances Preston when she'd spoke somewhere.
Oh,
and
how
so
incredible.
I tried to learn everything.
Well, it's not a surprise that you're being added to that great list, as you should be. But I'll tell you what, also, always, check the Opry, go see Jeannie Seely play live. To hear her sing and interact with the crowd and have the country music crowd eating out of the palm of your hand, I don't think anybody does it better. I'm just, as I told you before we came in studio, Jeannie, it inspires me. It inspires me to do more because, you just continue to do such great work in music and with your books and with artists, now producing. You've got a lot of stuff. You don't sleep much.
No, not really. But speaking of that audience out there, I don't think of it as just an overall audience, even though you think about over 4,400 people in that auditorium.
And around the world.
Yeah, but I think about in each seat, there was somebody who worked hard to earn that money to travel, because it's expensive and traveling is expensive and hard. And so I am literally talking to every one of those people in that seat. I want to make them know that you're who I'm talking to.
You always make it special, Jeannie.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you what, Miss Country Soul, Jeannie Seely, please add the song to your playlist. There's going to be more great songs I know coming out. Suffertime, you're going to love it as much as I do. It's on her Spotify, but watch the video, the documentary, and also the music video, which is incredible. And we can't wait to see more from the one and only Jeannie Seely. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor.
Thank y'all.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.